Hey, what's up, y'all? I am Simon Garcia, and welcome to CrashinConvos. This podcast is all about exploring the ups and downs of life, wellness, resilience, and everything in between through the arts of conversation. We'll also dive into deep discussions on existential questions, philosophical thoughts, and how we are a part of something bigger. By sharing my experiences along with those of my guests, I hope to bring you inspiration and essential direction through connection, which may help the listener begin to understand and unravel some situations they may be facing. To support this podcast, please subscribe, like, or share with someone you feel it may help. Thank you for your time and your presence. Now, I welcome my next guest.
No, I
Okay.
have various forms of knives though.
Nice.
Yeah. I like your setup though, man. Pretty on point.
Yeah, it's coming along, dude. I've been trying to set it up for when I have guests here, and this has been my problem forever. But I continually keep adding stuff to my plate, and I don't take anything off, and that's
So meaning like you don't finish
well, it's
parts
both.
of the thing.
It's both. I mean, I think I've been getting better at finishing, but it's like I don't want to say responsibilities, but additional. Like the more people I meet, the more relationships I connect with, the more I try to foster those and kind of keep those alive. And then also the all the other ones, right, that I've met. Just I don't know, like family, friends, old friends, new friends, like all these things, right? But you only have so much time to nurture all of them, right? And so it's that,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And it's that, and then
Is
trying
it,
to, they have events or whatever, so you're trying to go to all those because you truly want to. And it's just,
and
there's,
it's put it in the order of prioritization, but how do you prioritize the the time that other people want to give you? You know what I'm saying? You want to give time to them, but you know what I'm saying? How do you be like, but I
yeah.
want to.
And there is some self elimination there because you do find the ones that take it personal, like they feel like you're personally not wanting to hang out with them because of X, Y, and Z, but it's not really, it's not that. It's just it's just a culmination of different things, life, right? Like family and like, events that pop up or like, whether tragic or not, trips you want to take, and then you have your own personal relationships like your wife, girlfriend, you know, dad.
On a scale of like one to eight, how would you say the difficulty of balancing all of that? Because you do a pretty good job of that balance, bro. Like I sit back and observe like all the things you do, and you still give time to Lotus. Like you do a lot of balancing, man. Like on a scale of one to eight, how hard would you say that is?
I would say, hmm, it's a lot more challenging because like the other day I tweaked my back, right? I was working out and my core, I realized that my core is not as strong as I would like, and during the workout I tweaked like between my shoulder blades. So that kind of like fractured, like it affected my time with Lotus, like taking her out and stuff because I wasn't going on, even though like because I was just like hurting. So I finally took out this morning, but it's just it's a lot more challenging. I don't know if I could put a number to it because I don't ever really thought about it in the sense of like putting a number to it. But
Yeah,
I mean, it's just yeah. I was just and yeah,
and make it so and to even complex it because your heart's so big, you feel bad if you don't give that time to Lotus, if you don't give that time to other people. You shouldn't feel bad because you want to help, but it's just how kind-hearted you are. You put that pressure on yourself. I
yeah,
believe that's just my opinion.
yeah. We're a little. You're a little biased in that. Um, but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's interesting how you perceive that just from, I assume from like social media posts and stuff, right?
Yeah, I mean, because that's the only lens that that we see.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's what we're going off of.
And that's interesting that like to hear that perspective because I don't really think about it. I kind of just post things and it's they just kind of come out as they do. It's not with an intent to show this or that. I
Hmm.
really try to capture like a multitude of things and not always just be the just a one trick pony. Um, but I don't know, maybe it's something to that too. But how you been, man?
But if you think about it, if you had a pony, that means you know how to ride horses. And if you were able to train that pony to do a trick, that's pretty amazing.
That is true. That
People
is
try
true.
to downplay that. What is the trick? Can your pony drive the tractor? Like, what's the trick?
Yeah, I mean, I've been on
I
a
would,
horse. Have you ridden a horse before?
yes. I'm from Kansas, sir.
Okay. Well, you know
But that
how.
don't mean that that don't mean nothing. But yeah, yes, I
Yeah.
have.
I mean, it. You so you, I rode one recently. I mean, I rode one as a kid, but I really didn't have the awareness to understand and appreciate the consciousness of an animal. And they have their own attitude. They have their own everything. So it's a lot harder to just jump on a horse and just try to will it to move. So yeah, there's definitely a skill with that, like building that relationship with that animal. Because if you're, I don't know, and so I had Nina Guerra on, and she does equine assisted therapy, and that's where I learned that it's just like obviously
You
done the
said that
work.
really. I appreciate you saying that. Like I know what that is, but I don't know what that is. What is
So
that? Equine therapy?
equine assisted therapy, it's where you use a horse. Um, I believe that's the only one that falls out under equine, and you use the horse to and the individual, whoever is going seeking that therapy and building that relationship. Because a horse or even a dog is a mirror to you. So if you are feeling anxious, the horse isn't going to want to be next to you because it's like that energy kind of vibrates, vice versa.
Yeah,
So it's just once you're in a place to where the horse will feel comfortable around you, it will accept you and vice versa. So it's just like this coming along and I mean just even brushing the horse is therapeutic on many levels. It's like dealing with an animal that is conscious and can respond to you in kind, and it's just this like slow process of awareness that it will highlight where you need work, and it will highlight where you don't need, or not say highlight where you don't need work, but it's just this process that just happens naturally that I feel that we've lost as humans because once we got cars, we got rid of the horse. Once cars came around, like horses were
yeah,
our literally like I don't want to say our best friends, but we had to have a relationship with the horse. They took us everywhere. They were like pretty much part of the family and all these things. And then the when the car came around, it just was another uh, divider between us and nature, and kind of made us more isolated from nature, and have that respect for it.
yeah. Like I would 2000% want to be a lot better at riding horses. And like that relationship that you're talking about, like I have a friend, like no matter what horse it is, he can jump on it and he can drive it like a Chevy. And it's crazy to me. Like any horse, it don't matter because he just has that confidence and he has that rapport with animals.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. But like say if I was to get on the same horse, it wouldn't go nowhere.
Yep.
Like until like I have to be, come on, come on. But like if he get on it, it's just like it's just that relationship. And the same thing with my dog. He almost can control my dogs better than me.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, and that's very true. Like, and would you say he's like calm in all situations, or is it just with animals?
Yeah. Yeah. Nah, all situations.
Yeah. Where did he grow up?
Right here,
Like in the
Kansas City,
city or
Kansas.
like in the
Yeah.
woods or
Yeah.
in the woods?
A little mixture of both. I mean, because that's what we have here. We got both. You know what I'm saying? Like we got the city, but shoot, 5 minutes of walking from my house, we could be in the middle of a cornfield with some horses or some coyotes or maybe a bobcat to run from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, that's good. I mean, that's good. I mean, because I feel like every individual we can learn from, even like kids. Uh, but yeah, animals would definitely show us where we're at. I know Lotus taught me a lot. And each animal, and it's just we have to understand like and use those lessons to learn and grow from because I feel like those lessons will and those experiences will continue to happen and sometimes maybe more I guess jarring until you learn the lesson. It's almost like God or the universe is trying to just like give you another opportunity and just wake you up from whatever place you're at and tries to like get you into the next level of awareness.
Say that. Say that. And just being attentive to not only your situations, but why you there or how did you get in that situation?
Yeah. Yeah. And I've learned that just I mean, I think we all learn it. Maybe it just comes within time or wisdom or I'm not really sure what it is, but it I'm able to recognize it a lot more easier within others and within myself. Um, and I feel it just keep happening over and over. And I've seen people kind of like just go through it over and over, and they even you bring this awareness to them, they will not choose to see it because I mean for whatever reason, right? I mean we're all in a place where we don't want to deal with something and we avoid or we don't think it's as simple as that. And I found that oftentimes the easiest way out of whatever is the simplest solution to it.
I'm a product of that overthinking for a solution when it's just like the answer is the first thing that you thought of pretty much, but you're gonna go down this road of different algorithms to get to the same, pretty much the same point that you're trying to get to.
Yeah. Uh, Trust me, I still do it too. I still do it too because I feel like, but within that, right? There's it becomes the only way to truly accept that next level is to I don't know is to try all those ways and truly learn for yourself. Like, well, I tried that way. I tried that way. That definitely didn't work. So now I'm just gonna try this way, and it's like, oh, okay, now it worked. I should have just did that. It's like finding something that it's like, um, it's always the last place you looked, right? Like when you find, like, and it's like,
Yeah, I knew it was there, but I didn't think it was gonna be there.
yeah, yeah. So I don't know,
Why would I
man.
put it right there?
Yeah, and I feel like the only way you start to learn those things is by eliminating things from your life. And I don't mean like it's not always people, but just bad habits. It's because I feel like all these layers of uh, distractions keep us from seeing through like all the flares of life, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. I mean, and it's sometimes, at least for me, it would be because I don't drink anymore. And that was a layer of life that everybody coincided with me in a good time. Like that's, alcohol, he drinks the most. That's fun. That's fun. But man, over these past, like I had my 25-year reunion, same amount of fun, same amount of jokes. Like I might even laugh harder, but like for me, it's just like, man, I could get up the next day and still enjoy the whole day. And it's like, that's not a mechanism that I need to enjoy life. Like, and I'm not knocking it by no means. It's a great time, but it's just like I'm coming into this own. Yeah, I still blow the natural, but
Yeah.
that element that I thought was needed for fun, I don't need that anymore. And I'm just growing on that.
So what? I mean, there's a lot there. And for firstly, like like congratulations. I guess I don't know if that's the right word, but it's um it's definitely one of the hardest things to put down, I guess. And it's not to say an addiction standpoint, but more so all those things that come with it, right? Because a lot of people start to identify with whatever that substance is that makes you the person that you think you can be, and you cannot be without it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly.
Um, so was there something that you that it like what was that decision where you decided like maybe I should put this to the side and figure see what
I
else
mean,
is out there?
it would be spans of, 6 months, 8 months, maybe like a year where I wouldn't drink. And,
Mm-hmm.
just seeing my surroundings and growing up, like people with liver disease, kidney transplant, still drinking. I'm like, that doesn't even make sense to me.
Yeah.
Like, like I don't even we here to try to maximize things. Life would be the first thing for me. So I don't know. And then it wasn't nothing like trigger. It was just like over time, I'm like, okay, I like the whole day. Roosters are in my backyard. So I'm gonna get up in the morning at nonetheless 4 o'clock. So to get up groggy from alcohol and then try to live through the whole day, trying to recover, it's like catch up. I don't need that.
Yeah. How long has it been since you've drank?
Shoot, like not a sip, not a nothing, probably I say the beginning of the year, probably like February.
Wow. And what are
Yeah.
the some of the things that was there anything that you
And it wasn't nothing negative for me to like, I'm done drinking. I didn't
right?
get sick or nothing. It was just like, what's the point?
Yeah. No, and that's good because a lot of people, like, unfortunately, will have something tragic happen in their life where they're like, "Oh shit, maybe I need to stop." So I'm glad it came for you, just as a like it's almost like your spirit kind of just telling you, you know what, I don't think I need this anymore.
I mean, I could imagine the stories that can be told from alcohol that should have been the one to, but I was just like, I don't need another one of those stories that I got away from to be like, now I'm gonna stop. I was like, this is cool. I'm cool right here.
Dude,
This is
yeah,
cool.
100%. Like I think back to all the stories that should have been the one for me, and I still didn't fucking stop. And I'm dedical, but yeah. So back to you. Like I'm glad for you, man. Like so, how has taking that filter off kind of has it? Do you see things differently in some type of way, or is it just
Yeah, I pride myself in remembering what I did, not having someone else tell me. You know what I'm saying? Or the
Mhm.
highlight isn't, oh man, you remember when such and such threw up? That was so funny. Those aren't the highlights that I look forward to. Or out drinking somebody. You know what I mean? Like those
Yeah.
were highlights I used to pre. Oh, you remember what's name was passed out drunk? Man, that was funny. That shouldn't be a highlight of a night for me in my mind now.
Yeah. I know, and I was thinking that like I saw some. I forgot what triggered that memory, but I was just because there's a community around it, right? Like when I grew up, and I assume it's the same for you. Family get-togethers, everything was just it was surrounded. Alcohol like revolved around like whatever gathering we were having, even fucking baby showers. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Uh,
everything.
yeah. Uh, and either way, like fast forward, like it just became there's a community around it, like drinking, and like you have the kind of the same characters that kind of show up around drinking. So and so is gonna do this, and so is gonna do that, and you know what I mean. And there was just like this, almost like preparation for the night. Like if so and so does this, and I'm not gonna do this with him anymore, or vice versa.
You know
Like
how he get when he drink. Well, how about we take that drink part out? Let's just see how he is.
yeah,
Like, yeah, but yeah,
yeah, and I mean, yeah, again, like to go back to your point, like I'm not knocking anyone because I think everyone
not
has
at all.
to come to that awareness for themselves. And
It's a good time. Don't get it twisted. It's a great
yeah,
time.
it is a good time, and it's a good time because and I've thought about this a lot. Like I think about shit too much. Um,
And that's a good thing. You're a thinker. I call myself an overthinker at times.
yeah, I mean I overthink things too. But I think it's because you can almost seemingly like be free on it. Like you it almost like all your inhibitions are kind of just thrown to the wind, and you can just maybe I'm just speaking to myself, but that's what I used to like about it. It was like I thought I could be like I had an excuse to be whatever person. Like I didn't have any restrictions on the type of person. Like so I guess let me
That was
reword
an
that.
excuse. Yeah, that was like
Yeah.
I smell alcohol. Now I could be anybody I want to be. I could be a dick face. I could be a great guy. I could be a lover boy. I could
Yeah.
be an angry man. It's like
But yeah, and
and then
I didn't go in with that intent to be any one of those things. It kind of just kind of played out during the night. Um and but at the same time, I understand now that like that freedom I thought I had was actually the opposite of freedom because I had no control. I don't want to. I had minimal control or less control of my action or my thoughts and my actions than I would if I was sober. Does that make sense?
yeah, it does. It's like you feel like, all right, I'm letting loose, but it's like something it got a hold on you. Like
Yeah.
it's yeah, it's a hell of a thing. Like I had a conversation with somebody, and somebody was telling me how once their childhood friend, they're like in their late 40s, their childhood friend would rather drink than get his license.
Hmm.
Like, nah, like kidney failure, whatever. Nah, I'd rather drink than get a license so I can get a job and be in a better situation. Nah, I just rather drink.
Yeah. And there's comedians that kind of glorify it unless they're just being ironical with their comedy. But George Lopez is one of the ones that I think of. One of his bits, he's just like talking about somebody having diabetes and their leg falling off, and he's just like, ah, fuck it, I can drink more, I go straight to the head now or whatever. But and
That's real life, man. That's real
yeah,
life. Like I've the industry that I work in, the food industry now, like I see people, not in the best health conditions, not getting the healthiest food selections on our menu, and I'm just like,
yeah.
it's mind blowing. But if you, it's hard to switch up in the eighth inning.
You know why, dude? I mean, especially if you combine those two, like food. My wife and I were talking about this the other day.
It's more important than booty. No, no, it's not. I'm
Well,
sorry.
to some people, because it's like it's a drug. Like you get the dopamine hits from food as you do anything else, and people see comfort in any one of those substances, right? Whether it be alcohol, weed, whatever. But food is one of them too, because I know when I get stressed out, I'm a lot more aware of this now. But when I get stressed out, I start thinking about going to get like Whataburger or some whatever, like just because I want to. That's just a default setting that I have to like soothe myself is food.
I I'm with you, but the way my body's set up, I pay for it. Shout out
Yeah.
to gluten. Like I love pizza. I'm like, man, I'm gonna give me a pizza, but sit there and eat it. Wake up in the middle of the night, be like, there go your pizza tax.
Yeah, and it's a trade off. Everything's a trade off, man. Like, and
Yeah.
so yeah, I'm with you on that. Like, cause there's certain foods that I eat, like anything with corn, my fucking arthritis like flares up in my hands, and like I'm all walking like an old man that the next morning. But yeah, either way, it's still, and it's still, and it like so. I guess to prove our point is, like we get it. We're not trying to be judgmental, but we get
No,
it. Like why we can't stop eating this or can't stop doing that. But it's up to each individual to,
it's a personal choice with that.
yeah,
Like just like yeah,
yeah.
free choice.
I think the tricky part is a lot of people aren't aware of what they're putting in their body. They think that the FDA, and I'm not, well, they think the FDA and these food industries have their best interests in mind, but they don't realize is that a lot of these industries are a business and they're trying to make a profit. So they, I mean, Dr. Pepper is one of the ones I think of. It's one of my favorite sodas, and I don't have it often. I have it every so often. But they've identified something called a bliss point, and that's,
Hmm.
yeah, they had a chemist. I don't remember the year, but they identified this point where it became like through a series of tests, right? People they had people trying it, and there was a point where it became too sweet and it became like off-putting to people that drank it. So they like found that sweet spot and they called it the bliss point of like the perfect amount of sweetness that would make people want it more and more. And then they applied that same formula to foods. So how do you get more people to eat more? You just kind of, use food chemists to manipulate the flavor profiles, and sugar is one of the, if not the most addictive substance. I think even more so than cocaine.
Mm.
So,
I'm addicted
and
to sweet
it's so
tea.
good. Trust me, dude. I ate a whole the last 2 nights I had a pint of Rocky Road and what was the other one? Strawberry. The last 2 nights, dude. And I get it, man. It's a slippery slope.
Yeah, I had dark coffee chocolate chip last night, like two bowlfuls. So I'm
Nice.
with you. Same boat, different paddle.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, granted, it was Mutopia. It's like a lactose free one because that like dairy would jack me up, man.
I
Uh,
didn't even look at it. My mama gave it to me. She gave me the
uh, well,
went
it's
down.
your mom's giving it to you too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
Yeah,
everything given ain't great.
that's true. That's true. And that's when I really started to notice like all these kidney dialysis centers because San Antonio, I don't want to say get
Everywhere
everywhere. Yeah, I was gonna say
in
like
America.
yeah. And I mean, in Spain, right? When you're in Spain, the women and the people there, they don't look like in America, like or Italy or
No,
anywhere else.
no. For one, they're walking everywhere.
Yeah,
Two, they have the fresh markets there. They don't have, like you said, they don't have all this processed produce and foods and meats like how we do. Three, we're outside more. I say we like I'm still over there. Three, they're out. Three, and they're outside more, way more, more festivals, more parks, just being outside more than America. I don't know now. Everybody might be just outside on their phones. That might be a thing. I don't know.
I don't know, man. Yeah, it's definitely a different culture, a different lifestyle, different. Like when I was in Germany, every weekend we'd see families, and I think that's one of the reasons. Like the military was one of the main reasons I started to kind of come out of this, like out of this fog, right? Of the, I don't want to say the American lifestyle, but I guess in a way, yes. But like to experience other Like it's Sunday, you see families going outside, and I go back to this
Yeah,
idea of being influenced, right? We influence everyone, both negative and positively. Anybody we run into, we can't help but be influenced. But we would just look out the window, and plus we didn't have cable TV. You know, all we had was AFN if we're lucky. I don't want to see it lucky, but we have AFN.
yeah.
So you are not as programmed in this perpetual kind of advertising and marketing and all these things, right? And like the reality TV shows and everything that America is. And so you start to experience a different lifestyle in the way of like the German people, Spanish people, or whoever. And like, well,
Italian people,
yeah.
Korean people.
So you go out like let's see what this is about. And you start to experience it. And you start to learn different things. Like, oh, I kind of like this. I kind of like walking through the woods, you know, and just checking out this or that, you know, um, and it's
Yeah, I
slowly.
will say Kansas does have that to offer, and it's pretty cool. Like from like Texas, similar. Like we got bike trails that you can go jump on. We got them wooded areas. We got the river walks, and so
That's good, man. And then
uh,
I think San Antonio is starting to get there. Like because we do have a river walk, we do, but they are starting to expand a lot of the greenways. They're starting to kind of throw money into the trail systems. It's just taking forever because of the bureaucracy of everything. But it's starting to get there, especially like riding bikes, one wheels, and all these different things to get people outdoors. Um, but yeah, we're getting there, but it's just slow rolling because you're having to, and plus we have a bunch of implants from California and everywhere else, and they're I guess that's a positive way they're affecting like change here. There's a lot more negative though too, but anyways, so I've been wanting to talk about one thing. Where do you think ideas come from?
it, it starts from the scrotum area for me, and then it kind of permeates upward towards my. Uh-oh.
I think we lost Chug. I think it's interesting that we lost Chug right when I started to get into the idea of ideas because I was going to segue into something else, and this is where it got cut off.
My phone rang and then it hung up.
Oh, okay.
Dang. And I got hold on. My bad.
You're good, man. You're good. Yeah, I usually put my stuff in airplane mode, but I don't even know where the hell my phone is. Oh, it's in my pocket. So yeah, ideas.
You said where did they come from?
Yeah, where do you think they originate from? Like when somebody comes, because I have this belief that I don't want to say it's a belief, but idea. I guess it's a belief that there are no more original thought. Like when somebody somewhere in some like in our span of existence as human beings has talked about it, said it, thought about it, and they just kind of exist in this ether of consciousness or yeah. But like so where do you think they come from? You said you think they come from your scrotum?
Nah, like your subconscious mind more so. Uh, that's a heavy question. Where do ideas come from? Ideas come from passion to create the life that you want.
Do you okay? I'm gonna try to connect these two. Do you feel that you were always in complete control Do you think you have more control when you're drinking as opposed to when you're sober with your thought process?
Absolutely less control, but less control with how my actions are during my thought process. So when I'm alcohol free, my thought process is more intense to the point of less action. But when alcohol is involved, it's thought process and then more so action.
Right.
Because that filter is, there is no filter.
Have you ever heard the idea of like alcohol, like one of the names for them is like spirits?
No. Yeah, spirits. Yeah.
Yeah.
Spirits. Yeah.
And then so that connection with the idea of something external being able to manipulate people under the influence, whatever the influence is.
Hmm.
You see where I'm going with it?
So you're saying people that drink are possessed by the creators of alcohol?
Yeah, that's one theory.
Hmm. I could see that. Or being controlled by alcohol?
Well, it's the under the influence, so therefore you do not have complete autonomy
Control.
of yeah of that's what like drinking and
Huh.
driving. A lot of the poor decisions that are made. Okay, let's reverse back. Just think about the military. How many incidences where people got in
Did you
trouble?
get away with? Oh no, my
Yeah.
bad.
Well, I got away with quite a bit. I've been on the back of cop cars at least a few times, and I was let go. Um, but yeah, yeah, it's just that. Like how many things?
Alcohol could have got me kicked out of the Air Force, like 6 months me into the Air Force. Could have.
Could have or it did.
Could have.
Oh,
Could
okay.
have
So
went this way. Could have went that
you
way.
got
I went.
counseled. So
No, I didn't get caught.
oh, got you. Yeah, and the same for me. My first TDY. Yeah, I kept my nose clean all through, for the most part, all through tech school, and
Hmm.
in my first TDY, back to where I went to tech school at, I had a bright idea to. I mean, of course, there was a lot of testosterone being young and dumb. I
Yeah, but I mean, but I think it was a part of it was the culture. So like us growing up, especially you came in a couple years before me, or a lot years before me. But how how were we brought up? Okay, we work out tough, and then we drink,
yeah,
and then we drink, and then we drink, and then all right, then we go work out, and then we work, we do the job. Okay, so celebrating, what we doing? We drinking. Promotion party, we drinking.
yeah,
We drinking, or at least I was air crew life support. So should we pilots? All right, thanks for fixing my stuff. Here go a case of beer. We drinking.
yeah.
We drink
No,
like that's
yeah,
all right. Air Force ball. We drinking.
it was definitely around the it was definitely the culture, definitely. But I still have like a sense of like ownership with it. But
Oh
so
yeah, I own that.
I thought I had a bright idea to drink a fifth of fucking Goldschlager before we went to the club, and I did. I think I did. And so, anyways, fast forward. Uh, I was throwing up in the bathroom. I was underage, and they security got me, took me to the room. Somehow, my friends uh, talked to them to have them let me go, and they would take me home. They put me in a cab. I got home. Long story short, the next day we had a QA inspection, and we were all supposed to be present. Luckily, my team chief was looking out for me, and that's something that the military got away from when they went to this whole zero tolerance policy. Um, But he looked out for me. He was like, "Don't let it happen again," which I didn't, at least with him. And I, yeah, I could have got, I don't want to say could have got kicked out, but I could have got an Article 15 at the very least. Underage drinking,
Minimum.
yeah,
LOR, something.
yeah, something.
Yeah.
But I got a slap on the
Shoot.
wrist.
Yeah, I think what did we get? I did something similar. We had like a what is it? A staff assistance visit, staff coming through.
Yeah,
So like the day before we meet the inspectors, met them out to eat. I was like, I'm not staying all night. This is when I was in California. I was like, I'm not staying all night. I'm going to Sacramento, which is like 45 minutes away. They got an open mic night tonight. Y'all know I do this. They're like, okay, cool. And it was another one of my coworkers. He was like, man, I want to go with you. I'm like, all right, bet. So he played the guitar, but to give a little backstory, I had just won BTZ. So I'm feeling myself. You know what I'm saying? I'm aiming below the zone. All right, cool. So met them, greeted them. All right, I think might have had a beer with them or something. Boom, we jump on the highway. I go down there, we get trashed, like scummy trash. I perform or whatever. We come back. We gotta get back to the gate. I'm older than him. He's gullible. I'm like, hey man, I drank way more than you, bro. Drive through the gate, get us through the gate. So we switch. He drives, gets us through the gate. We both oversleep through the inspection, drunk. Both of us drive in. The inspection was gone already. Inspection done. Supervisor like, y'all had a good time last night? I was like, man, I killed it. He was like, yeah, really? What about the inspection? He was like, you just, he was like, how much did you drink last night? I was like, we had a couple. He was like, who drove back? I was like, I drove us back from Sacramento, but he drove through the gate. He was like, why did, like, does that even make sense? I was like, well, shoot, he drank less than me. I know he could get us through the gate if they was to check us, but they didn't check us. It was all good. Man, don't you know we got LOCs and like had to work extra duty. That was it.
yeah,
I felt like it should have been a little bit more.
yeah. And
And then leading up to that, what ended up happening? I ended up wrecking my Cadillac, bro, drunk. Like a couple months after that, not even a couple months, maybe about a month or so after that, I ended up wrecking my Cadillac, drunk.
yeah,
Yep. But the way the story came out, he got stolen.
what's that?
But I said, but the way the story had came out, my Cadillac got stolen and it got smashed. But the story I came up with, no man, somebody stole it. I didn't wreck it. But if it was that day, we fucked up on that inspection. If he would have lit my ass up, possibly, and the other dude, I would have wrecked my Cadillac. Other people wouldn't have had to lie. But it didn't happen that way because of why? Because of the culture.
Yeah, and that's a double-edged sword, right? I mean, there's people looking out for you because they probably had somebody look out for them,
Yeah,
but at the same time,
yeah, but
yeah, especially if you're a hard worker, like if you were a really good worker
and
and
that
you
was the
got the
thing.
job done, yeah,
Yeah, and that was the thing. And we were kicking ass at the job. You know what I'm saying? Everybody kicking ass. The job's tight, Trump. But what was the problem? Everybody in there getting fucked up.
yep,
Huh, I just unpackaged that. I just thought about that story right there.
there you go. Don't overthink it.
Don't overthink it too much.
Yeah, but I mean that's the unfortunate truth, man. I mean, there was a lot of good times that came with it. There was a lot of bad stuff that came out of it, though.
True.
But you're right; it was part of the culture, and it taught us, at least, especially the older guys, like one, it taught us um, how to look out for people, but at the same time, it also taught us like how to sweep stuff under the rug, I guess. And some people learned their lessons right away and didn't continue to do that, but there was a good amount of people that took advantage of it, and they continue to do it because,
This is true. This is true.
and I mean,
And
those
some
people.
people,
Go ahead.
now some people didn't get that support. Some people didn't have that. Some people kind of that little circle looking out for them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Some people were on their own. Like the situations I was in, I kind of, I had friends, brothers that was like, nah, man, hold up, do this,
yeah,
do that, do this. You know what I'm saying? Just don't do that. And then now, I kind of did that to the younger people. Nah, don't do that, do this. And I do stuff, and that stuff does help. I will say that.
yeah. I think if anything, I look back as like I mean, granted, I did grow as a leader, but uh, and I still kind of look back and I'm pretty hard on myself in the ways that I could have been better and I should have been better. But either way, it's like, yeah, I could have did those things, but I didn't. Like, how do I correct that moving forward and try to share or and help people now with those experiences? And but yeah, I mean, different times, man, and it's that double edged sword too. Because granted, I wasn't kicking indoors or nothing like that, like in on deployments and stuff. But there was this acceptance of the potential idea of deploying to somewhere, and that came with. I mean, maybe it was just an excuse for me to be more reckless in that way. And if I'm being completely honest, I had a lot of shit going on from growing up that was factoring into my behavior and the way I dealt with stress and the way I drank and all these different things that kind of shaped uh, my actions in the way that I carried myself and stuff. Does that make sense?
It does because I can hit you with the same thing as well. Like the reasons that the drinking was so heavy, you know what I'm saying? The reasons that I chose to drink to display a different side that I wanted to, I don't know, emulate, I guess. I don't know, possibly.
Yeah.
It wasn't just, it was I always say I would be unfiltered, but that was the filter. The alcohol was the filter.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was the lens.
Unfortunately, it kind of like highlighted or helped me. Like, I don't want to say help me, but it exuded my false confidence. Like, I was, a lot of times I feel like I was pretending to be something that I wasn't, even though I could back up what I was saying, but that really wasn't who I was. Does that make sense? Like,
100%. Because I'm with you again because one of my mechanisms that I used when I used to publicly speak was, man, I gotta give me a nice buzz, let me get my drink on to get that nerve out before I start talking.
yeah,
But I don't need that either. You know what I'm saying? Like those, it don't matter how much I would drink or nothing. That nervousness, that excitement, that adrenaline, it's still it's gonna overpower any type of substance that I got in my system anyway.
yeah,
So if anything, the alcohol is gonna do what? It's gonna make me slur. It's gonna make me stay unfocused. If I'm up there, it's gonna make me not as sharp. So I
yeah,
got over that. I probably had probably about 2 weeks ago. I probably had probably one of my best presentation performances to date.
nice.
Yeah. It's the combination of Spanish and English. It's a good one that I got going.
Yeah, I've seen some of them, the ones that you've posted and stuff, and definitely, I'm definitely not seeing anybody else doing it. Like this kind of bilingual, what is it? What do we call it? Spanglish?
Yeah, Spanglish because that's Kanglish. It's Kanglish, baby. Kanglish is the Spanglish.
Yeah,
Kansas is Spanish.
Kanglish,
English.
Kanglish.
There, I just there it is.
Yeah, there you go, man.
Yeah, but Yeah, sure. Actually, I'm performing tonight at one of the featured places here in Kansas City. I'm excited. It's a place called the Juke House, and it's like where creatives go, and it's a record release party for a musical artist here tonight. I got my list put on it yesterday for today.
What's it called?
They was playing me. They was playing me as a chump, son. Huh?
Nice. Is it Juke? Juke?
Yep. Juke.
Okay. I guess that's a cool name. I'm gonna.
Yep. So it's in the famous 18th and Vine Jazz District, Kansas City, Missouri.
I still need to get up there, man. I need to go check that out up there.
You always got a spare bedroom ready to go. We got it on deck here at Casa de Almendra.
Well, you have a spot here too, man. So if you ever want to come down, um,
Yeah, we waiting on that appeal money to come, and then once I get my new truck, I'll be on down there.
oh, that's right. You got in a car accident, right?
Uh-uh.
What happened with
No,
that?
my appeal from the VA
Oh,
still
how long?
plugging away, man.
How long has that been in the works?
I reappealed in March. I got the notification letter, I want to say like June, and then probably about a week or so ago, I said that it got to a judge and it's getting processed.
Yeah. Okay. Well, good luck with that, man.
Man, it's coming. It's coming down the pipeline.
So I remember the last, like our first couple of seasons, doing the podcast. And for those of y'all that don't know, this is Chugg. We were deployed together.
Mucho
We started,
tiempo.
yeah, man. But he's back on, and I wanted to bring him back on because I want to catch up into just to. Um, I remember like some of the first couple of seasons, we were talking a lot about the things that we kind of saw like on the horizon for. Fuck, man, it's crazy. Like nowadays, I mean, it was crazy then because we started this like within 2020 or 2021.
Mm-hmm. 20,
2020. It was like
2019. No,
it was
it
2019.
was 2018, 2019, because I was in my mama basement. Shout out to everybody in their mama basement.
There
We
you
out of
go.
the basement now, baby. We out the basement.
Moving on up.
Moving on up in I. Yeah, it
Yeah.
had to be around 2018, 2019.
Yeah, maybe it was 2019. That sounds more accurate because then we started talking about COVID and all that stuff and all the crazy shit that was
Yeah,
going on.
yeah.
But what like some of the things we were talking about was like China and all these different things, and I was stopping short of saying a lot of things because one, I didn't want to believe them to be true. Two, I didn't want to put it out there, and three, it was just like I was trying to focus on other things, and either way, like fast forward, like here we are, and it's just it's crazy to hear so many different podcasts talk about the things that we were talking about then, and then like the some of the back conversations that we would have, and then like fast forward, like where I was trying to go with this thing with ideas is, and maybe I'm no, I don't think I am. I've been doing like a lot of reading and stuff with different um, conversations around the idea of God. And I know we kind of talked about this, hit this up a little bit like a couple years ago, or maybe about a year ago. I'm not really sure, but it's kind of it seems that it's kind of really got into the conversation of every podcaster now that seems to be talking about, and even as far as like reading the Bible on podcasts and stuff like that. It's like different excerpts and bringing professionals, and it's just pretty wild because at the very basis of everything, I know there's like good and evil, right?
Yeah,
And there's people that do good things and there's people that do bad things. There's people in between that kind of fall on like both sides of the fence, you know, and it's just trying to keep this balance because I think everyone is capable of both. Um, I guess we can, I mean, talk about or just in general, like the idea of if people are born evil. I'm not really sure about that. But I mean, I guess maybe in some cases they have evil parents or whatever, and they bring them up in this concept of. But I don't know. I mean, that's a whole different podcast. But everything that seems to be playing out nowadays, and then I don't know. It's kind of scary too because there's like if you read the New Testament and you read what Jesus talks about, and it's interesting because I know some people will listen to this, and I'm trying to approach, and I'm not trying. I'm approaching God with a very wide um, aperture, and it's not. And it's interesting how some people will just turn off anything if they hear God. Once they hear God, they just shut it off because they don't even know what the person's going to say. They just turn it off because they attach that to whatever experience they've had with the idea of God. So one of my questions is to you is like when you hear God, what comes to mind when you hear God?
When I hear God, I hear that's a great question. It should it shouldn't be situational, but for me, it shouldn't be forced on
Mm-hmm.
you. It should be a part of you already. And I get people's testimonies and wanting to spread the word and spread the joyfulness and educate those. But for me, I don't understand how the correlation of I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to say I'm at a loss because I don't want to sound too offensive because I believe everybody has the right to believe in what they want to
Yeah.
on all levels with respect. But like I don't think like prayer should be done inside of a bar or I don't know. I don't know. It's just a matter of opinion. Like when you say God, is it God to appease others? Is it God for ulterior motive to go to another place, this magical place that everybody hopes that's in this book? Is that what the reason that we praise this God so we can all be together in this afterlife? Like that's
It varies to each individual, and that's why I asked the question. Like
yeah,
to
is it
sit,
something to be feared? It's like I got to do all these right things because if I don't do these right things, I'm a bad person in the eyes of God. Like,
yeah. No, and that's why I asked the question because it's interesting to hear people kind of unpackage it all because everyone has their own idea of it. Like some people like, and even like, even if they do read a book, it doesn't have to be the Bible because there's like, I don't remember the number, but it's like in the thousands of different types of Christians. And then there's also like, you know, the Quran and like Muslims and like their idea of God. And then there's the
yeah,
Torah and then their idea of God, right? And I feel like they've all come from the Old Testament and became like their own versions of it. And then there was the New Testament, which like when, and I'm talking about this as a historical um, subject. I'm not talking about it. I'm trying not to talk about it with the spiritual sense right now. I'm just trying to talk about it from like when I read the Bible. When I read the Bible when I was younger, one, I didn't know what I was reading. Two, I wasn't allowed to ask questions, and three, um, I couldn't
you wasn't
understand.
allowed to ask questions.
No, no, I was. If I asked questions, then I was questioning God. So that made me
Oh,
yeah, that turned me off from it, right? And so fast forward through a combination of different things, um, it's like everything happened in reverse for me. So when I read, like I've gone down like Buddhism, I've gone down like Hinduism, I've gone down like even like because there's like a rub for me, right? There was practices I learned growing up that would be considered, um, and even that varies, right? Because there's this split within me, and I'm just gonna be honest now. Like I've kind of danced around it for a while, but I was brought up with two seemingly different belief systems, right? And one of them was the direct control and approach from like cleansing a person, right? It was like through using herbs and using intent in prayer to cleanse a house or cleanse an individual. But it was this like kind of hybrid approach of like Native American practices coupled with Christianity, right? And then like if you talk to any, I don't want to say any, but if you talk to most Christians, they're like, "Oh, that's the devil. You can't do that." And it's like, well, if you read parts of the Bible, it talks about them using like incense and like there was a ritual around it, and then rituals people get wrapped around the axle because they think of like witchcraft and stuff like that, and that's its own thing too, right? Um, so for me, as I kind of peel back the layers of my not only like childhood traumas and all these different things and like the way I got brought up and all these different, one of those is spiritual practices. So in order to kind of un like peel back the layers of that, it's like, all right, well, let me read the Bible again. Let me read it from with these different experiences in different contexts, and it's let me read it from a just an educational standpoint, right? And it's not like trying to read it with like trying to believe it, right? I'm reading this, and I'm not trying to like force myself to believe it because I'm being told to believe it. I'm reading it from a, all right, let me read what this is about and just try to not disprove it and not, uh,
Let me read the story. Let me just read the
yeah,
story
let me
and just
just read it.
yeah.
Because how can I say that how can I talk about anything about it if I haven't actually read it, right? And with this new current understanding of these lenses that I have acquired to this point in my life, right? And so that's why when I speak about the Bible, when I speak about God, when I speak like I'm not, I have my reservations around it, right? And it's more of a curiosity and like discussion, right? We're like, what is this, right? What if this shapes so much of our world and us as individuals? What is this, and what like how did this come into? Because I feel like there's a lot of people that, and I feel like this is where a lot of people get turned away from it because of these self-righteous individuals that claim that they are acting on behalf of God, but they're really acting on behalf of their self-righteous like motives to prove to God
Yeah.
that they are who like that they are a proper Christian or they're a proper Muslim or they're a proper this or that, and they judge and they, you know,
Ridicule,
mm-hmm. It was
put you
about
down. Put you down if you're not in line, if you're not listening to them, if you're not following them of what their vision of what God is.
yeah, because honestly, dude, like when I've been reading the New Testament and Jesus and like the individual, because I wasn't just reading just the Bible, I was reading other books about Jesus, right, or Yeshua, because I think the letter J didn't come around to like 600-700 years ago. So when I'm reading about the individual, he hung around like all of his apostles weren't the best and the brightest. They weren't the cream of the crop. They weren't the most. Um, they were like average people, and he hung around all the quote unquote sinners, right? And he hung around with people I would probably hang around with, right? Like I got friends, um, like I've got brought up using, um, like hanging around all kinds of different types of people, right? And that's given me an experience and an understanding to understand where they're at, right? I've and I'm not trying to make a testimony here, but it's just that's exactly what it is. It's just a uh, my experiences to this point. So I understand what it is to drink. I understand what it is to do drugs. I understand what it like to see people get shot. I understand what it is like to be shot at. I understand what it's like to be like to see people with addiction and die from addiction and OD. I like so there's all these series of things. So I don't just look at when I see not all the time, but most people I'll see and I'm like I can empathize with them to a certain extent because I know what it's like to do a substance and then want more of that substance because there's a reason why people do it and they do it because it works. It makes them feel a certain way. And to have somebody that's never done anything, and I'm not advocating for individuals to go out and go experience these things, but it's kind of it's pretty fucking hard for that individual to cast judgment on somebody if they've never lived a life of pain and of addiction and of like just struggle in general.
I can get that. It's a famous line of a philosopher that I like to listen to at times. He said, "People that can't even touch the rim is trying to tell me how to dunk."
Yeah,
Shout out Jake. Shout out J. Cole. But
there
you know what
you
I'm saying? Like if I've dunked before, like or you know what I'm saying, or like if you drunk before, if you've experienced this thing before, how you gonna listen to somebody that's never done it before?
yeah. And I want to say like all the saints, like all the apostles, like they were all fuck ups. Like they all lived a life that wouldn't be like what wouldn't hold up to most Christians today, and yet like Jesus, the individual, or Yeshua, was like spent his time with them and brought them into his circle because like he saw something in them, and maybe it was that overcoming of sin or what have you. And even sin has a negative like because it makes you feel a certain way, right? Because it makes you focus on, at least I'll speak for myself, it makes me focus on all the things I've done wrong, right? And just that on its whole is I want to turn away from anything that is saying I can't do those things, right? Or I'm not saying you can't do those things because there is free will. So there's all these different concepts that are intertwined around the Bible, and they're so polarizing because it makes people, to include myself, reflect inward. And the one thing that we most commonly do is focus on all the bad shit that we've done, and so it makes us not worthy of any type of afterlife.
Yeah, most people are, or not, in my opinion, tend to listen to the disrespect more so than than the appreciation. Like if you tell someone thank you often, they're like, yeah, okay, whatever,
Yeah,
cool. But if you said, man, I don't like you, you get more of a response back than if
yeah.
you were to give them a compliment.
Just look at social media. I mean, we've talked about this before, but you say you share some type of information that's going to help someone. It
No,
could be
cricket.
sourced and everything. Crickets, yeah. You say this bitch cut me off in the parking lot and be like, oh, fuck that
Who you
bitch.
calling bitch?
Yeah,
Women's rights.
yeah, yeah. And it's just on and on and on and on.
All alphabet colors matter.
So I don't know, man. I'm not trying to preach to anyone. I'm not trying to. It's just a discussion, and I feel like on social media, I have I put God in the beginning of it, and it's with this big, because I don't know how you can capture the idea of God in any one book or any one. I don't know, man. I mean, this is just a discussion, but I feel compelled to talk about it, and I felt compelled to talk about it. But there's this. I stopped short of it because of all, and it's interesting, like how even like in mainstream like media and what have you, you could talk about people could talk about all these other religions, right? But whenever it comes to Christianity or just like Jesus or anything, like people automatically shut it off or they shut it down or they like clam up or and I don't know why that is. I don't want to say I don't know why that is, but it's interesting how that just happens with this this one religion and not the others.
That is a very great query. Like I don't know. Like now that I'm thinking about it, like Christian, it is the only religion that gets that much publicity. I guess it would be.
I don't even say
Would that be?
publicity. Like, I mean, yeah, I guess it could be negative publicity,
Yeah, negative. Yeah.
but like I said, I'm not. I it's a it's definitely a fascinating. I don't want to say fascinating, interesting topic for me because if we rewind like 3 or 4 years or whatever when we were having these conversations, I was talking about like this, like taking all these data points of everything going on in the world and then throwing these data points up on a wall big enough, like we'll start to paint a picture. And because I do feel like a lot of these things that are happening, more specifically, I guess, in American society, is has to do with they're all like symptoms of a bigger problem. Like, yes, they're tragic, like the school shooting. I can't even speak. School shootings. Um, Even like the assassination on Trump the other day. Like, um, all these things that are happening in our society, like George Floyd. Um, these, they're all symptoms of a bigger problem. But people get wrapped up into, and I understand to a certain extent why they get wrapped up into it, but I feel like they're all distractions from something else at play. Um, and I think one of those things is the the absence of
Speak.
a higher power.
I got a distraction question for you.
All right.
So, would you say I don't know if we talked about it on one of our early episodes, but I foresaw seeing this stepping down of the elderly so another person who happens to be a woman and partially of color can take presidency. Did you see this playing out? I did personally because I was
Yeah.
like, he old as fuck,
Yeah.
but I was like, come on, man. She a woman. She gonna be a person of color. She's not totally, and her husband's not black. He's not white. Like,
Yeah. I mean,
nah, this is gonna cause America to start fighting again. This right here. Watch, watch.
yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, these are all like symptoms of a bigger problem. Like, what
Yeah.
one thing they highlighted this last presidency was that it, for me, it confirmed the idea that the president is not really in charge.
No way, Jose. By no
Yeah.
means.
Yeah, and I just highlighted that because it's like this deal was obviously can't even hold a conversation or can't even like
Whoever made his clone failed. They failed at making him a clone. They failed at his clone. They forgot to properly maintain it because it's It's not working right.
So you think he's a clone?
Yes,
Yeah.
Jamie Foxx too.
If if he's a clone, I don't. So I would assume in this scenario, if he's a clone, then he is the
He was the
the
first
original
prototype.
person. The original person died. Then is that what I'm understanding, or is he like locked away somewhere?
On a ventilator somewhere, probably,
Think so.
possibly.
So either way, like whether he's a clone or not, it's still
He's
with
out of
the same
there.
problem. You know what I mean? Like he's not. He hasn't
Excuse
been
me.
running the country. Um, Other people, and then furthermore, like when they were asking him to step down, and he was refusing to step down. From what I read on one of the reports, was that a private donor, like I don't know, they withdrew like I don't know something 60 million or something like that. They threatened to withdraw, or they did, or something like that. But that just proves the point is that with all these politicians, which doesn't make any fucking sense to me, because why they have money in politics? Because in the military, we weren't allowed at the thing at the time when I was working a lot of contractors and a lot of government civilians. Um, we weren't allowed to get gifts over like $10 or something like that. And if we
Yeah,
did, we had to report it.
shenanigans.
So that's us. That I mean, yes, we do have some influence on contracts and stuff like that. So we're trying to like, um, having said that, if you're the leader of the free world, why are you able to get millions and upon millions of dollars from these private industries and not and people not expected to come with some type of expectation or some type of uh you know some type of
Yeah, I
mission.
mean, I think not to cut you off.
No, you're
It
good.
was it was heard that he's been in politics for over 50 years.
Yeah.
Come
And
on, man. You know how much side money he done got greased on his feet, his hands done got greased. He's greasy Joe. He just got so much money stashed away.
yeah, and but he's not the only one. That's my
No,
point. And like,
no.
Nancy Pelosi, and this isn't what I'm saying right now is not like Democrat or Republican. This is just the entire system.
Politician.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I'm not saying every politician is doing it, but when the majority of politicians do it, even like new
Why wouldn't
politicians,
you do it?
yeah, new politicians
Would you
coming
do
in.
it?
I don't know,
Would you
man.
do it?
I don't know honestly. I would
That's a
like to
lot of
think I
money.
wouldn't. I would like to think I wouldn't. But if you're going into a new situation, and kind of like going back to the military, the example of the military, if you're going into a culture where everyone is doing it, people are more likely to do it, especially if it's your leaders, if it's your supervisor, if
Yeah.
it's your mentor. And
Yeah.
then it's like, that's why the saying goes, leadership, attitude reflects leadership. So if your leaders are doing it, then you're more likely to do it. But if your leaders aren't doing it and they're like holding you to and setting the example, then it's the opposite. The opposite will happen because they're not gonna take shit. They're not gonna, and that's what
Nah,
the
they
position
ain't gonna
should be.
let you ride. Yeah, they're
Yeah,
not gonna let you ride.
yeah, and that's why they try to force out anybody like Tulsi Gabbard, like that. That's why they try to force out anybody that's calling everyone on their shit, and that's one of the things she did and continues to do. And I mean, I think Hillary Clinton called her like a Russian asset or something when she was when Tulsi Gabbard was running for president. So there's
You
all
think
these things.
Hillary would take vice president? See,
No, I think she would want to be president. And if she did take vice president, she would be the president. Like if, because Kamala Harris, this is without, like I've seen her speak, and she shouldn't be president either. Like I don't know how she's gotten into the position that she has. I mean, I think I like to think I know. She's probably done a lot of dirty things to get where she's at now, but she can't even hold like a press conference or anything like that because some of the stuff she says doesn't make sense. I forgot what that saying. What did she say over and over and over again. Like, so it will, so it always has and always will be and always will be, or something like that. It's something crazy. I should probably look it up right now. Go to. So, what do you think about her?
I really have no opinions yet because I have seldomly heard her publicly speak. Uh, I just seen the fact that her race, her gender, who she's married to. Initially, out the gate, I was like, man, he too old. I said it jokingly, like he's gonna have some type of real bad health problem. Like he ain't gonna be around long. Like he was gonna die. 'Cause he was so damn old. But I think his dementia's getting to him.
Who, who are you talking about?
Joe Biden.
Yeah, it's been getting to me. Like, I don't.
Yeah.
I'm surprised his
Man,
family didn't pull him out.
I got this relative, man, that calls me about 6 times a week. He got dementia. Shout out to everybody with dementia. It's a great phone call. He's always excited to listen to me because he forgets that I ain't called him. He called me.
Yeah, man, dementia on its own is a pretty brutal degradation of
You think that was planted here? Think that's man-made?
what
Dementia.
dementia. Shit. Nowadays, I don't even. It wouldn't be surprising because of everything that seems to be kind of surfacing. Um, I'm trying to look for this thing. Look at this right here. I don't know how this is gonna play because I haven't. Can you see the video?
Yeah, I can see it from from on the screen. It's not on the actual Zoom screen. I can see it on that screen.
Yeah. Come on. I don't know why it's not playing.
You hear my neighbors, right?
No.
Oh, okay. The roosters.
Oh. Yeah, it's not playing for some reason. I was trying to get the words that she was saying over and over. Either way, my point is that she's probably not the best individual to lead our country, and I'm not. I wish.
But going back to what you said, they really don't lead it anyway.
Yeah, I think a good Democratic nominee would be if they were really trying to look out for the citizens of our country. The only person that would actually truly challenge Trump would be um, RFK, Robert Kennedy Jr.
You think
Because
he'll run?
he's been running, and it's crazy because the mainstream media has been not really showing his speeches, and they've kind of been like, I mean, they've done this with every
You hear what
presidency.
I just said? I ain't know nothing about it.
Yeah, he if you listen to a lot of the stuff that he talks about, it is challenging the status quo and challenging a lot of other policies that have been a lot of the policies that have been put forth by current past administrations. I mean, do I agree with everything he says? No, but considering that these are like that Biden and Trump were our only two options, I think why a lot of people like Trump is because he is not a politician, and they're trying to uh, lean on what he did in this last presidency, and like uh, the more they try to push him out, the more people want him because they're like, well, they're trying to push him out for a reason because he can actually help us and all these things, and a lot of people are like attaching to that. And when I heard there was an assassination attempt on him because we were at an event, and we didn't know of it until we were leaving. And like my wife told me, and I was like, he's gonna be president. You know, like this has pushed him in that direction because I don't know, man. And it even then it worries me too because I'm not saying it was intentional. I mean, I don't know. It's just what does that do to a person, right? When somebody tries to take your life, it's going and then you survive it. It's going to embolden whatever views that you've had and then probably calcify them, and it might push us in a direction more extreme than it previously would have been in. And maybe that's what our country needs, but
Do you have any part that you think that it was staged, or you think that was actually real?
I don't know, man. Like, okay, so
How
if
do you put a band-aid on the other ear that was shot, allegedly
I got to go back
shot?
and look at that, because I didn't connect that, but if they actually made if they actually fired shots, right? And I'm because I saw the video a bunch of times, but I didn't because
The people that died, my opinion, my conspiracy theory, the people that died had something to do to deter the program that they're trying to push. Somehow, some way, 42 degrees of separation, that connection is there.
so I'm gonna look up the video right now to see what you're talking about because I know the the bandage was on his when he came out when I saw it the other night. It was I want to say he was walking out, so it was on
So
his
right here.
right ear, but I haven't connected the two. But honestly, like if it was, let's just play the scenario out. I'm not saying it. I'm not making a decision about it, but let's just play the scenario out. If it was staged, right? If it was staged, then it had to be like a blood packet or something. But because in order to make that shot, like even if he was standing still and they were trying to replicate it, that would be a difficult shot to make to actually just go through his ear because of the wind and just everything has to be lined up perfectly for that to happen.
You think more people would want to kill him than Barack Obama? You think people hate him more than people hated Barack Obama?
Um, I guess it depends who. Okay, so we're factoring in like who hated him, right? Like that's what I mean. Like so the if you're about to overturn a whole bunch of if a bunch of people are about to lose money, like people with billions of dollars are about to lose money, who would they hate more, right? So if assuming like Barack Obama had endorsements from these billions of dollars of people and they knew that their investments were gonna be safe, then but if you're looking at it from a cultural kind of like white supremacist hating Barack Obama because of his skin color, then I don't know. I mean, either way, we're in strange times. But I, for whatever
The
reason, it's
best
not.
of times, the strangest of times.
But I lost my train of thought. What I was trying to say. So it was his right ear.
I thought it didn't change to his left ear.
Well, the bandage was on his right ear when he came out into when I
The
saw
first,
the
yeah, the RNC when he addressed that, yeah, it was on his right ear. But I
yeah.
think it was like yesterday, it was on his left ear. And then, like, what attention does one seek when you wear a band-aid on your ear in the audience? Like what? How?
Well,
Because the and then like why would you do that? I don't. That ain't something to ask somebody, but I wonder what.
sorry.
I'm all over the place. I'm just curious. Like, you know what? Hey y'all, let's put band-aids on our ear when we go to this thing so we can look like him because he got a real band-aid on. Let's put a band-aid on. Y'all want to do that? Yeah,
But
that sounds like a good idea, right?
but I understand that, and there are probably people that are on his team and was like, hey, we need to capitalize on this or whatever. So,
Here, a
but
couple band-aids. Y'all put this on.
depending, like I don't know, I haven't actually seen the wound, so it might require a big band-aid. Because that round of that caliber brings a lot of concussion forces with it. So I don't know. Like I haven't seen the wound. I don't know. So to be fair, I can understand like from both sides, not being able to see the wound, but
Would they?
maybe
They wouldn't release the wound.
at least not yet. But
So Did you see any of the speech?
I saw some of it, and it
Did
was
you see when he kissed the helmet of the fire department man that died?
no, I didn't.
Oh, it
I
was a
uh
spectacle.
I did see all the what the fuck is this? I did see all the amount of pictures. Yeah, it was his right ear. I did see the amount
Yeah.
of well, and his bandage was on his right ear too. It's just on the left because I think when he was speaking, you can see it was on the left side as you're seeing it.
Okay. Today,
But
that is what, 3 days ago?
this right
I,
here
yeah, I think that was
is
like 3 days ago, give or
when
take.
well, this video right here is from the day of the attempt. But I just wanted to see where
Oh,
but the bandage thing, I want to say it was on the right
yeah.
hand side.
It was on the right side, but
See,
allegedly, I can't confirm it.
see, it's on his right hand side right here.
Yeah, but allegedly, I can't confirm it. He had it on a different ear
Oh,
yesterday. Yesterday,
I don't.
I can't
Well,
confirm that.
on this one right here, yes, it is a big bandage, but it's on the back side of his ear, like on the
Uh,
closer to the reverse part of his ear. But I think the biggest thing for me with this was how many people were surprised that there was an assassination attempt because
biggest thing for me was to see Hulk Hogan in the stands of his
yeah,
speech.
and I do feel like there's a lot of people that are,
Bandwagon.
well, not just bandwagon, but they're like capitalizing for their own. And I'm not saying Hulk Hogan is doing it because he probably truly believes that, but there's a lot of people that are capitalizing on this, like this momentum. Like there's a lot of people just capitalizing on it, right? Because why wouldn't you, right? It's the thing that everyone's talking about right now. So like for us,
It's the hottest thing going.
we could have just, hey man, let's have a podcast right now. We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna bring in a weapons expert, a sniper or whatever, and we're gonna talk about it. And we're gonna just like pretty much milk it for all it's worth. But I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's. I don't. I don't wish this on Trump. I don't really wish this on anyone. Uh, the assassination attempt on it but it does highlight, and especially everything that's kind of coming out afterwards with it. Like this kid was supposedly in a BlackRock commercial, and supposedly he had, um, I don't know, like three chats or something, encrypted chats from overseas. I don't know what that means. You know what I mean? Like, so they're alluding to the fact that a foreign actor got this kid to do it, but I don't know. And then they were talking about there was another shooter on the freaking water tower, and then there was somebody in the crowd. I don't know, man. With AI nowadays, there's no telling. Like, there's no like there would have to be somebody that would have to analyze the footage that they're claiming um, to be,
And that's not gonna come out for years.
and that's the thing. And that's why I haven't really spoken about it. I haven't really gone online. I haven't really chosen a side or nothing. It's because ever since COVID and even before that, you come out with something and then like new information comes out. Even George Floyd, right? Like 6 months, a year later, a year and a half later, there's information still coming out about that day. And it's just like, well, why didn't this come out then? You know, and there's a saying too. The truth, no wait, lies travel faster than the truth, or something like that. So
Never heard that one before.
yeah, so I don't know, man. Like, there's gonna be a lot. Like, just look at JFK. JFK was assassinated in the 1960s. I forget what year it was, 63 or so. And and I say they, whoever is the keeper of these documents, have yet to release the files, even though the time is up for it. And that was like 40, 50 years ago. And so I don't know, man. There's just, and things like this that keep happening over and over is the reason why people, the United States, at least the citizens of the United States, do not trust the the media, one, two, the government. And I'm not saying, when I say the government, I know there are people, I know people that work for the government. They're good people. And the majority of people that work for government really do feel and are putting their best efforts forward to try to protect our country and all the threats that are coming with it. And there's more now so than ever because of all the policies that have led us to wars with other nations, to overthrow governments, and all these things are unfortunately going to come to roost. And there's the CIA has a term for it. It's called blowback, because everything costs something, and just because we're trying to make things better doesn't mean we're making things better. We could be making it worse. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah. Putting our foot in someone else's pot.
yeah, and we've been doing it, and I mean this could be a whole different podcast, and I really tried to stay on point with it, but I have in the 20 years that I was in, it was easy to see how we could rub people the wrong way. And that's not even like, it's just the way we carry ourselves as Americans, and like the arrogance that we kind of carry with us. Like, you could just be sitting down having lunch in Germany or Italy or wherever, and then you could hear us coming around the corner. We're just louder. We're
Talking
louder.
loud, something.
The, our clothes that we wear are louder. The
They could just
vehicles
look
we
at us
drive,
and just tell.
yeah, the way we carry ourselves is louder. We have this arrogance about us, and we do not we do not blend in well. And I don't know what foreigner does, but so just that on its own ruffles a lot of feathers within other countries, right? We weren't always the best ambassadors, and I'll put myself in that too. I wasn't always the best ambassador for America. But having said all that, and then to factor in like the policies that we push, the and whether people like it or not, we every country looks is looking at America every day through their media, and we are the world's reality TV show,
Yeah,
whether we like it or not. Everything that goes
yeah.
on with fashion, with movies,
Entertainment.
entertainment, music, people dictate and imitate what we do and what we are. I was in Turkey, and there was people that you could tell they just the only English they knew was from MTV or whatever, and they were going up to like guys on our team that were just walking through there, and they're trying to relate to us, and they would be like, "What's up?" My N word, and just like walking around like
Yeah,
yelling it. And the guy on my team wasn't too happy, and I understand, but I'm like, dude, they don't know any better. Like, they just learn from what they see on TV. Um,
yo. when I was in Spain, the most obtuse thing, one of the most obtuse thing, I'm coming out of the metro slowly, whatever, by myself. It was an African dude, clearly selling stuff. He just screamed it out of the just out the top of his lungs. Yo, my nigga! I'm like, whoa, whoa. I was
Yeah,
like, man, like that's normal. Like that's how they feel like they can connect.
yeah,
And I'm like,
yeah. And like
I just kept on walking.
I was talking to a Puerto Rican guy the other day, and he's like, I don't understand it. Like he's like, in Puerto Rico, there's a bunch of like, he's like, there's a lot of black people, and we call them negros, because that's what they are. Like they don't get offended. They don't. It's just a
Yeah,
cultural thing here in the United States that I mean, it probably has to do with our history, but every country, I'm sure, has their shared history of slaves or discrimination. Even in
yeah,
Africa, like there are certain tribes that don't like other tribes, and then even in
yeah. Or
Japan,
trigger words, I should
yeah,
say, trigger words. Yeah,
yeah. I mean, Japan, the same thing. Like don't they didn't like the Chinese for a long time because they always got invaded by them, and vice versa. And like Taiwan, and racism exists everywhere. We just, I think people, our culture, and on top of that, like our media propagates it more to create division, more division than is necessary. Because even like, I don't know, like even Mexicans, right? Or like, I guess Americans, we're American first, and then like we have Mexican, this like lineage. Like even with us, like most of the time when people make fun of it, we just laugh about it because we're always cutting on each other anyways. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
so we don't make as big deal of it as some people. And I think it varies, right? Like in any conversation, the context and the intent behind the comment makes you feel like more agitated. So if somebody were to come up to me and call me a, I don't know, like a wetback or something like that, like with that negative intent, like that, like wanting to hurt me, kind of wanting to fight, kind of thing. It wouldn't be so much the term, but it's the way that you're presenting whatever you're saying.
your
It's that
intent is to be malicious. Your intent is to be hurtful. Like if you're using it derogatory, like
right.
your intent is to be hurtful. Like, nah, I'm not gonna let that ride. No.
Yeah. So and that's the difference, right? And I mean, but it would be the same thing. Like even if you were to come up to me and be like a positive comment, but it would be with this negative intent. I'm reacting to what how you're saying it to me. I'm not reacting to what you're saying to me. Um,
Yeah.
but either way, as far as all this goes, I mean, I've in boxing, right, where they call it like a rope a dope, where you kind of like you're like luring them in, and then you're gonna kind of react. My biggest fear is that I'm not saying that this was staged, but my fear is that even though we feel this is what we need as a country to get us back where we need to be, and I say we, I'm talking about the majority of people that are kind of jumping on this. And by no means am I Democrat or am I Republican. I'm American and I want what's best for the country.
Straight like that.
You know what I mean? So I'm not making this
Yeah.
decision based off of it, but I fear what this could bring because even though there was a lot of positive things policy wise that were done by President Trump at the time, I fear what more division that he could bring as a leader because
Oh
there was a
yeah,
lot of
absolutely.
divisive
He's
things
gonna
he's
feel
did.
yeah, he's gonna feel he feels invincible. He feels like now he got more people behind him. He feels indestructible now.
Yeah.
'Cause he's
And
gonna try to impose his will and his policies
yeah, and
or their policies.
I really hope and pray that that it works out the way it's supposed to and we can right the ship and that this conversation that we're having right now is going to be like, wow, man, we're really glad that worked out. because if it doesn't, like, I don't know. And yeah, so that's what I fear. I fear like that this will put us into a fear-based system where yes, it's not going to be the fear-based where it's a social credit system, like where I feel like the Democrats were taking us, like their policy or whoever's leading the Democratic Party, they were pushing us down this road of what's going on in China with the social credit system, where everything you do online can be used against you, and they can take away your money and all these things if you're not going in line with whatever the narrative is for the government. But on this side of it, I fear like the opposite side of that, and I don't know. I just hope that it works out. But I do feel like as a country, we need something more than a two-party system because that just creates division.
Yeah, kind of. I can't foresee that ever changing.
What, the two-party system?
Yeah,
You know what I think the next system's going to be? Speaking of Kamala, I think the
she's
next
on right
system.
now.
I think the next system's going to be AI. They're gonna like. I feel like fuck. I don't even want to say this out loud because I do feel like everything that we've created and we do, it does manifest in the future in some way or another. Um, but I'm not the only way. I don't believe I'm going to be the only one that says it. But I do feel like because we are humans and we do have our own biases, that people are going to think that AI is going to save us and they're going to put AI in charge. And then people will worship AI at some point if they're not doing it already. But even AI, right? AI is programmable, and AI is gonna have all the biases of whichever the programmer
But
inputs
the
into the
AI
system.
is going to eventually get smarter and adapt, right? Isn't that the whole point of it? And then that's when it's going to be like, you guys aren't that smart. I'm gonna take over from here.
Yeah, um, yeah, because it essentially becomes this parent, this virtual parent that is like you. It's gonna take the aggregate all the information of history and see what we continue to do over and over and kind of keep shooting ourselves in the foot and keeps us from progressing to the next level because we just do things that are not
It
always in
takes
our
us
best
a
interest.
longer time. Yeah, it takes us a longer time to get to there, get to the
Yeah.
point.
So it's going to potentially, it has the potential to restrict our, the way we interact with the world and the way we interact with each other. It may try to mitigate how we have kids, and it's going to be a whole thing of controlled. But it's going to happen so subtly because I think AI is smart enough to understand that it can't happen overnight. So it's going to be this subtle suggestions and manipulation through time to get us to that point. But by the time we know it, we're not even going to realize AI is in charge. It's not. It's going to be so sophisticated that it won't ever let us know that it's in charge, but it will be.
It
If
might
we don't,
already be.
yeah, I feel like it already is. It's
We just
already
don't. We're
seamlessly
not even.
integrated into all of our systems. All of our digital footprint is being tracked and has been for a while. It knows us better than we know us.
Do you
Because
personally have voice activation items in your house?
um,
Hey Siri, hey Google type.
I have them all off, but that's not to say it can't still be listened to. The only thing that we do have is Echo, but and I don't even want that in our house. But my wife got it for when she does acupuncture. She uh,
Mm.
she can just put some music on and stuff. That way she doesn't have to go and touch it and all these things. But that's in one of the rooms. But yeah, that's the only voice activating thing that we have in our house. But again, all this stuff can be turned on without us even knowing it.
Facts.
Yeah, like even like and even that like there have been like methods. I remember when we were doing like factoring the MSEC emissions security for uh, for skiffs and stuff like that. There are IA people, information assurance people, the ones that kind of mitigate and put lockdowns and try to keep all threats from foreign actors or malicious actors to infiltrate our systems. They were concerned about cables that were not being used that were into going into the skiff because they said they could be used as antennas to listen into from forward adversaries.
Damn.
Or like there was even like case studies of um, being able to use existing wire in houses as to pick up vibrations to hear the conversations of people. So if it really wants to be listened to, it will be listened to.
True.
You know what I mean? They're like the, and I'm not trying to be fear based. It's just that's just the reality of technology, and this is like old technology. Like I mean, old like I don't know, like 30, 40 years ago. The Russians were doing stuff like that, like during the Cold War, like in the embassies and stuff like that. So there's no telling what exists now. I don't want to say there's no telling, but like the amount of technology of listening technology that exists now, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, and I always think uh reality stems from movies, or movies stem from reality. So
Yeah, and
yeah,
that's what I was saying earlier. Everything that we create, everything we say, yeah, I think it manifests itself in one way or another. Whether it's an idea, going back to idea, that's why I was trying to get into the idea process of it or the thought process of it. Like it resonates with somebody and they create it in some way. So once you say it and someone hears it, and then it comes into their consciousness later, or they repeat it to somebody that kind of couples that with another idea they had, and then it becomes something. So like all the sci-fi movies that were created in I don't know like 40s and stuff or 50s, where they had cell phone like communication devices have come gave I'm pretty sure it gave somebody like the idea like whoa like I'm gonna try to do that because they were a sci-fi fan or whatever, and as technology evolves then they were able to recreate it, and then now we have the cell phone. So whether it's said made in a movie or drawn a picture, it gives somebody an idea, and with this the amount of time and technology that allows itself, it can be created and manifested in one way or another. That's why I feel like it's almost crazy. It's like every Hollywood movie that's ever been made seems to be playing out right now. Like Aliens, it's crazy that Aliens is we talked about this before. It's still a
yeah,
backstory. We have so
yeah.
much crazy shit going on that it's like, well, the existence of aliens. We have official people, whether it's a distraction or not, I'm not sure. Um,
Oh, it's official, official. Kansas
yeah,
City is one of the most cited places in America. I did not know that.
really.
Still is. Yeah, didn't know that.
I
Still is.
wonder.
At least
I wonder what's in Kansas City. Why they would be visiting there.
I don't know. We got big bodies of water, and we got I don't know. We got a lot of corn. We got a lot of fields. So we got bodies of water and we got fields.
So that's one thing. That's one theory of it is that they're aliens or they exist in these underground structures. One of them being like water. Not to say water is a
Yeah,
structure, but so everyone's like looking
yeah,
up, but they're really coming from beneath us. I
yeah.
saw
We
like
got man.
I
Look
saw like a
here.
science report. Yeah, I'm sorry to cut you off, but I saw a science
Like this.
report, not a science report, like an article that was talking about how, and I didn't really dive too much into it, huh, pun intended, I guess, that there was a different layer of the earth that was found where it has like more water than the water on the surface or something like that. Um, and I was just like, if that is true, that would be crazy if there is a different plane or a different level to the earth, and there are more, I don't want to say entities, but more life that we don't even know about because we're so like, we think
We so
we're,
caught up on up here, what we see. We so caught
yeah,
up on the surface.
yeah,
Pun intended. We caught up on the surface,
yeah.
surface
So,
level.
yeah, surface level mindset. And because there's so many distractions, like
Yeah.
even if everything was going perfectly right now in the way of like politics and like no assassination attempts and like people were getting along, we would still have the distraction of,
Violence, drugs, alcohol,
yeah, like
sex.
there's so many things that keep us away from us and from us growing, uh, that we can have an entire podcast on it.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. It's it's definitely, I don't know. It's definitely it's definitely interesting to say the least, and that's one thing I wanted to try to get into was ideas. But it sounds like that concept might be just kind of be, you know, bouncing around in your brain for a little bit, let you kind of unpackage that
Yeah.
as you have your smoke sesh or whatever.
Yeah. Way a little.
Yeah. What time is it?
10:25.
10:25. Okay. Well, I'm gonna close this out and. Well, dude, I appreciate you coming on and stuff. I feel like we bounced around a bunch of different subjects, and then we
You
had like a
did. I didn't
little,
write nothing down except for
yeah, we had like a little error in the middle there, but it all worked out. I just cut that piece out. But it sounded like, hopefully, at the very least, for those of you listening, gave you an idea. And one, welcome back, Chug. But it gave you an idea of our current state with everything. I think my biggest suggestion to everyone that's listening, to all you listening, and to include ourselves, is to not be so reactionary to things that are going around and try to look through and not try to look for something, but just pay attention to everything and like don't get so distracted on the flares that are kind of going on because it seems like every time that something like this happens, there's something being like shuffled in the background that,
smoke and mirrors.
yeah, man. And if anything, I would say just kind of keep your eyes peeled. At the very least, if you haven't started to prepare, and I don't mean in the way of prepping, I mean you could take it to that level if you feel you need to, but I would say prepare as an individual, like to start eating right, being aware of like, can you walk more than 3 miles right now without passing out? Can you do you know the basic things of how to start a fire? Do you, I mean, at the very least, you have these skills regardless, and I mean they're always good to have regardless if you find yourself somewhere. But have you explored other places? Do you know? Can
Do
you
you
get
know
around your?
where West is? Do you
Yeah.
know where East is?
Yep. Like can yeah. Do you know how to get around your city without a GPS? You know?
Why would you? I use it for the police around here and potholes.
Do
Gotta
you
report those potholes.
do you use Waze?
You know what? Shout
Oh,
out to
okay.
Wave.
There you go.
I'm a platinum member.
I think that's owned by Google too.
Yeah.
But yeah, can I would just say like learn some skills. Learn because as much as and even if, for the people that think they're gonna do it on their own, like if we, I mean, Lord forbid, we don't ever hit that point, and we're able to rectify it and really get on track and be the world leader again. That's what I really, that's what I want Plan A to be. I want Plan A to be that we get our shit together as a society, as a nation, and we become the things that we set out to be. I don't know, like in the 20s when we were actually fighting like something evil, like like the Nazis and stuff like that. I think that's the last real war that we fought that we had some type of like good and evil, if you will, to it. But right now everything's murky. Everything's kind of just bled into each other, and I hope we can get our shit together. And at the at the very basis, we can't expect everyone else to fix it for us. We have to fix ourselves as individuals, and we all have our flaws. We all have our addictions. We all have our things, but it's going to start with us, and with us we impact those next to us, our families. And um I mean, Chug has had some influence on me creatively, and we influence each other in all types of ways, both negative and positively. We know what we need to fix, we know what we need to face, and I would say we'll start with that, because we're not going to be able to do it on our own if we ever go down that
Yeah.
road.
Seek counsel. Don't be afraid to seek counsel.
Right. Yeah. And at the very least, you expand your community. And that's what it's really all about, is expanding your community. And that's being a good team member, being a good teammate, not relying too much. Being able to be individually beneficial to the team. And if you don't know, have any skills, then start learning. Because if you're just dead weight, then you just kind of
You
fall off.
bound to drizzle.
Yep, that's right. So at the very least, if you got anything from this episode, get that. Like, this is where our mindset is at. Don't be too reactionary. Don't fall into where they want you to fall. And who's they? I'm not sure yet. And that's another thing, right? I've heard like people like, and I'll say this, and then hopefully we end it right here. But they talk about civil war and stuff like that. But it's, why are we gonna fight each other? Like, that's where this whole division comes from, right? It's like, us versus
Why do
them.
the Crips fight the Bloods and the Folks? Why do inner city gangs have rival gangs in the same city but on different blocks?
Yeah, and that's my point. Like, they, right? And it's like, who are they, right? And it's like, well, if we really truly want to change the system, then we need to work together, and we need to understand what these these threats are. And a civil war is not going to fix anything. I mean, if anything, it's going to make us realize how good we had it, and how shitty things can become, and how brutal and evil things can get, like, overnight. And all the luxuries and all the comfortabilities that we have now, right now, even though people think the world's falling apart, it's still better than anything that a civil war would bring. And the only way
Right.
is to change it, is to change ourselves, and to understand. And to understand, like, even if we had to fight a threat that is causing all these gangs in the inner cities, and this um, everything that's wrong with this world, if there is, people, whether it's the World Economic Forum, whether it's a three-letter agency, whether it's this real government or whatever, we have to understand the threat first before we can fight anything. Because if we say it's corporations, what are we going to do? Go to fucking Microsoft and go beat up their employees or kill their employees? That doesn't do anything, because those are just people trying to earn money. That's we have to understand what we're dealing with in order to attack anything. That's with any war, right? Understand the threat. Understand what you're actually going after, as opposed to just kind of going off what people say it is. But I don't know. I'm just a cable guy. I was a cable dog, communications. I wasn't fucking uh, a JTAC or nothing like that, but I do have some common sense, and I understand when I'm out. Yeah, just yeah. I'm rambling now. So you have anything to add, Chug? Yep, I guess we lost Chug. Yeah, so that's all I'm saying. What I am saying is just be smart. Get your try to get your stuff in order. At least have an understanding of how you and your family would be willing to. I don't want to say
My
buy out,
headset
but know where
died.
you go. Your headset died.
Yeah.
That's
And then I
cool.
was
Do you
trying
have
to
Do you have
disconnect the
anything to
Bluetooth.
add before we head out?
Nah, I ain't got nothing.
You were coming in broken. Sorry, man. You're just make sure
It,
you dude.
yeah, it sounds because now it's just a speaker on my phone. Nah, I ain't got nothing.
Okay. Well, good luck at your event tonight. Appreciate coming on and definitely
Appreciate
want
the
to.
invite.
Yeah, man. I definitely want to have you on more and we talk a little bit more and try to stay focused on some of these ideas and thoughts. And probably would have helped if we talked beforehand. But either way, it's good to have you back on.
Yeah.
All right. Well, where can people find you?
Magnum Almendra on Instagram, John Coltrane on Facebook, and Chef Charles on YouTube.
Chef Charles on YouTube. I didn't know you had a YouTube channel now for cooking.
Yeah, we switched it up to Chef Charles on
Nice.
YouTube. Like fresh recipe.
Well, thanks again, man. I appreciate it, and hopefully this will be out in a week or so. I just got to get some other stuff knocked out first. But
Appreciate you, brother.
yeah, man. Well, thanks again for listening. Take care, and if you know somebody that will enjoy this podcast, or at least the different rabbit holes we jump down, different conversations. It's not pigeonholed to one thing. Please share with somebody else if you think they would be a good guest for the podcast. Let me know that too. You can send an email to CrashinConvos@gmail.com, or you can find me on Instagram at CrashinConvos. And yeah, thank you for your time. Appreciate it, and y'all have a good one.